Grace be to you, and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Today I want to do a review on the Concord Reference Edition by Cambridge. It is in KJV. It's black leather goatskin, black letter text. I chose the black letter text because I have a red letter text in the turquoise. I prefer a black letter, but red letter does not bother me in any way. I just know that from reviews like Eric 1111 that the Concord has some inconsistencies on it's a normal occurrence around John 3:16 on that page. So be mindful of that and do some reviews before you decide on red letter Concord. So that may be a factor on if you get it or not. Some people don't mind. It's not horrible to where it's completely faded out. It's just noticeable. So without further ado, this is the Concord Reference Edition. Excuse me, I have a little bit of getting over strep throat, so my throat's a little dry. I want to give a shout out to evangelicalbible.com. They do not pay me to do such. I wish they did. That'd be amazing. But they are just amazing at customer service. And this is where you get all the premium Bibles. There's their phone number. The website is obviously right here, evangelicalbible.com. This is their flagship Bibles. The ones with the Jerusalem cross or Schuyler's. That's their flagship. So it was quite the compliment when I read on the Concord page that they have dubbed this among the best overall King James Version Classic Reference Bibles available. So it is a natural grain goatskin look to it. You can see the lines running through it at certain angles, and that really is awesome to me because most of my Bibles are more of a pebble grain look. Holy Bible is not stamped in, it's just printed on Holy Bible. Same with the spine, Holy Bible, King James Version, Cambridge, and Cambridge the words. And the turquoise, you can kind of feel an indentation where it's stamped in a little bit. These are tooled hubs, but they have they have a grip to them. You could pull on it with your fingernail. I hear that was the original reason for a hub, was if it was sitting on a shelf, you could just pull it with your fingernail and pull it out if it was tight between two books. It is perimeter stitched. The ribbons would be my only complaint, but I do not deduct points for ribbons. I'm not really on a point system, but I don't deduct rating for ribbons. They serve their purpose. I'm not real big on ribbons. I would probably in the future replace these. This may be a factor for many people. A lot of people would get really irate about a premium Bible just having ribbons stuffed in like this. So I wanted to share that with you before you buy it, because I have noticed on other reviews and complaints and ratings and whatnot on websites that this seems to be a common problem, a common complaint. It doesn't bother me. There's people out there like David Lee Brown and Bo Tate that have a wonderful how to do it yourself videos on YouTube. So I probably will eventually in the future get some 7mm Beresford. The reason for 7mm, so I can get three side by side, a red, a yellow, and a red. I may not even touch it because no matter what, it doesn't bother me like it does most people. That doesn't to me make it a second. This is still a premium Bible just because the ribbons are not perfect. It states on the inside cover, goatskin leather cover. This is a synthetic leather, but it's still very supple. It's not going to be a calf split leather like the turquoise or Schuyler's and Allen's. Another thing missing here, as you notice, just like the turquoise, is a gold art gilt line that goes around the text block as it's open. I actually prefer this. This is more of a classic feel to it. The corners are not horrible. They're a little bit more noticeable. When they don't get them completely perfect because they don't have that gold gilt line to take focus off the corners. It is edge lined, tabbed in, very nicely done. And you will, when you first get this Bible, you will notice it's a little stiff, but I've only had this a few hours, used it for a few hours, and it will lie flat after you've used it for just a few hours. The Holy Bible title page here, I'm probably going to murder and destroy the pronunciation of this word. It's either cum privilegio or cum privilegio. It is with permission. It's just stating they are authorized to print the King James. And their title page and their copyright page I love because it shows you it's a Concord. It shows you that they're bold figure cross references and pronunciation marks. For those of you that like to look at the copyright page, I think Cambridge does it the best. They show you the typeset, 8.9 point times semi-bold, 421, that's the font, type, and size. KJV Concord Reference Edition. It tells you where the paper is supplied, and I will not do the French company injustice by trying to pronounce that. Printed in the Netherlands by Royal Youngblood. There's your contents. And there is the guide to the pronunciation marks. And for those of you who do not like the pronunciation, self-pronouncing text, I would not let that deter you from the Concord. Because they don't go to the extent that like the Cambridge does, or some of the R. Allens, especially the Revere Blackface. The Revere Blackface and the Turquoise, I would say, are pretty close together. Self-pronunciation gets a little out of hand, but it does not bother me. But to those of you that it would bother, just be mindful of that. This tells you about how to use the cross-reference. I'll show you that here in a second. Here's the epistle dedicatory. And then after that, obviously, is the translators to the reader. And after the translator to the reader, you get your Genesis. Have your books of the Bible page first. Names and order of all the books of the Old and New Testament. As you can see, this is a very bold Bible font. It's very easy to read, even though it's 8-point. In this reference system, the dark 3 will be for 3 over here, 16 over here. So the 3, that'll be the references for that. 16 will be references for this. 4, references for this, and so on. It's actually very nicely done. It gets high appraisal because there's no keys or letters and numbers in the text. The footnotes and the references are all in here, and they'll be bold, showing you which verse. Another thing I wanted to share with you was the fact that was the self-pronouncing text. I don't really see it here. You'll see it more so in the New Testament, obviously. So let's turn to the poetry section just so you can kind of get a look at it. That's how it's set up. And you'll also take note to the art gilt. That's a lot darker than I've seen in other reviews. I don't know if this is something new they're doing. It's a heck of a lot darker than like Randy Brown's review of his Concord and Turquoise that were together on his Bible buying guide page on YouTube here. Here's my Cambridge Pit Minion. As you can see better in the light here. It's a lot different. This is definitely a light pink salmon. This is a salmon, but a dark salmon. And then, see if I can get all 3 of these in here. That is the Pit Minion. Here's a turquoise. Turquoise is going to be a little bit larger, so it's going to kind of take... It's more of a red, a pinkish red, not so much of a salmon. When they're next to each other, this is definitely like a salmon color, a light salmon color, and then more of a pinkish red. To the naked eye, it's more of like an R.L. Allen red. So this is a really nice Bible too, guys. I will do a font comparison in the future, but there's just a real quick look there. you can see that the Concord on the bottom has a very, very bold font to it. And that's 6.75 compared to 8. So there's those. And then we'll go to the New Testament here, just to show you real quick some South pronunciation. It will be worse than Matthew right at the beginning, obviously. Here's the New Testament title page. I have not found a lot of inconsistency with this Bible. There have been pages that may be a hair lighter. You cannot pick it up at all on camera, so it does me no good to try to show you. With the naked eye, you will see slight inconsistency. It's nothing that's going to bother you, though. Most people aren't going to be reading their Bible like this, obviously. So you're not going to notice. This is an amazing Bible. There's a self-pronouncing text. As you can see, it won't do it again here over Joseph. This is a little bit longer video, guys. I'm trying to do a little bit of comparison with South pronunciation and stuff because I know that does bother some people. As you can see here, this one's not real bad either. This does do it more so than the Concord, though. Concord will stop doing it in certain areas, but this will just keep going over and over. Matthew 8:28. And again, I haven't really compared these two. I just know that the South pronunciation is not as bad in this, and it does do it for those kind of words. But it's not quite as bad. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the size of these Bibles. I don't have a PSQ to compare it with, so it wouldn't be fair for me to say one's better than the other. I would love to have a Schuyler Canterbury in the future, and I hope to get one. Or a PSQ Canterbury, excuse me. I would also like to have any PSQ. I like to have an ESV PSQ. That's another translation I really adore. But the size of the Canterbury would be 7.1 inches by 4.7 inches and 1 inch thick. And to compare that, this one here, and that would be the text block, by the way, also. The 7.1, 4 by 7 and 1 inch thick would be the spine. This one, by comparison, is 8.25 inches, 8.1/4 inches this way, which is 133.35 millimeters. Oh, excuse me. I am so sorry. 209.55 millimeters, and then 5.5 inches this way, which is 133.35 millimeters. Spine is 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, which is 31.75 millimeters. So that, again, that was 1 inch on the Canterbury as advertised, and 1 1/4 on this. So just a 1/4 of an inch thicker on this here Bible. And so I would say they're really comparable. The font size on the Canterbury boasts 8.5. This is 8.9. I don't know how dark the PSQ's prints are. The only thing I have to compare it with would be, like a Schuyler. I have a Schuyler ESV Quintil in calfskin I can compare with in the future so that you guys can see the difference. I love to do text comparisons because people just love to do those, and that way they can see the difference. Because since I've went to Cambridge, like the turquoise was where I started getting the dark print, the bold print, and then I noticed that this had bold print and it was a more handy Bible. I had to have this, and now I see the Cameo is even smaller, and that it's also an 8-point font, and it's very bold as well. It's a medieval font, but I think it's comparable to this font more so than the font of the turquoise. The medieval and the turquoise font are both a 1920s font. This is a 1950s font. I actually almost have taken to this one. The one thing that this does not have that the turquoise does are the total chapter numbers in parentheses beside each chapter in the Bible. It will tell you like you're in the 100th chapter of the Bible, 110th chapter, and so on. This one doesn't have that. It's not a big deal. This one, where this one lacks certain things, the Cambridge turquoise has. It makes up more so in the end of the Bible, as you can see right here. This is Revelation, and all of this is extra. This is a short glossary of biblical usage, and it is short. As you can see here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages long, and then it goes into the concordance to the New and Old Testaments. The concordance is pretty extensive. Matter of fact, still going. It is 138 pages long. So a very good concordance. It has a glossary, shows you that. The dictionary is right here, Concise Bible Dictionary. And it is fairly extensive as well. Yeah, it's got page numbers up here. And this has an old antique feel to it. It has a little bit of fading here and there. Kind of broken letters. I kind of actually like that. I think that's very cool. Here we got this. And it's still going as well. So it's quite extensive, guys. It's 128 pages of the Bible Dictionary. And you get into the Cambridge Bible maps. The index of maps here. 15 maps. Tells you where they are. And then it's color coded. Blacks are settlements, reds political, greens physical land, blue is physical water, purple travel, orange Jerusalem, and then you got these parentheses, tells you towns, cities, fortresses, and so on. And those are color coded according to these indexes here, and it'll tell you where to find it on the map. It's very nicely done. These maps, I actually prefer these over the turquoise, honestly. The reason being, just like many people have complained about Crossway being a little glossy. Turquoise has more of a glossiness to it. It's not horrible, not quite as bad as like Crossways, but it's there. It's definitely glossy. You can tell the difference just in the light alone, especially if I can get it to shine a little bit. I don't think I will be able to. But this is definitely a matte finish. This is more comparable to the Skylar, the new Skylar Quintels. It's amazing matte finish, and it has a lot better feel. It's authentic feeling. I prefer that, honestly. Size-wise, again, this is going to be your best bet for everyday carry. As you can see, my hands are probably average size male hands, maybe a little long fingers. But there's that compared to the size of the turquoise. Might as well make this video a little extra long. Hopefully it uploads. As you can see. And I've heard that this white is actually a sign of good leather. It's your leather sweating. I have not put anything on it. So there's a size comparison. I mean, this is a lot more handy to carry around, obviously. Just a hair shorter on the cover, nothing substantial. It's probably an inch and a quarter taller. And for thickness wise, it's fairly close. I think this was 1.5 inches and this is 1.25 inches. A little bit of comparison there for you for that. If you don't have a turquoise, which some people do not, and a lot of people do have pit minions, that's a pit minion. And you know pit minions are very small, very small. So, with that said, there is the comparison to that. probably right at an inch, and a little, probably another 1.25 inches. And I don't know the thickness of the pit. I would say probably a 1/2 inch. It's a very small Bible. Again, you cannot go wrong with this. I highly recommend the Concord, guys. I will cut the video off right here. God bless. Thank you for watching. Please watch for further comparisons. Like I said, I plan on doing a lot more text comparisons with different Bibles. I want to do some Schuyler's compared with the Cambridge. The reason why I do this is because people get stuck on certain Bibles. I got stuck on Cambridge and Allen, or not Cambridge, I'm sorry, Schuyler and Allen, and I couldn't go to Cambridge. I had one Pit Minion, and I love the Pit Minion, but I just couldn't bring myself to buy Cambridge because I didn't know if I'd like it. But now I've got these dark fonts. I am almost a Cambridge fanboy. I know that's horrible to say, but it's true, because after reading this and this bold of a font, it's hard to go back to a font that has more of a gray font to it. Again, God bless. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Show others my videos. I know they're by no means professional, but still, it's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy helping people make decisions. I know I have watched many brothers and sisters do reviews, and I've watched them over and over and over and over. And the longer the video, the more I watched it, because I could sit there and look at the text. I could fast forward, rewind to the spots where they showed the text, and just revel in what I wanted to buy and get lost in the moment. So hopefully you'll find my reviews useful. I want to thank you again. God bless, and keep watching.